Welcome back. I am Dr. Mario here at Alive Partner TV, and today we're doing this impromptu live broadcast with a really special event, if you will, and starting a new way of doing some of the things that we do here in the channel. And this is what we call the H.P.S. or the Human Power Series. So today we have a very special guest, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this. But before I introduce our super powerful guest, I want to talk a little bit about what has been happening here in the world of Alive Partner. As it turns out, we have been in the midst of doing our first cycle of the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. And this has been an absolutely incredible journey, and we're just about to finish this. And the degree of transformation, the things that have happened inside of the program through the power of gratitude and the power of the feeling body have simply been incredible. And so we figured, we do so many things here in the community. We have so many different programs, whether it's the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad, or maybe we're doing the 7-day Stop Fighting Challenge, or maybe you have been part of the Alive Partner course, or maybe some of the mentorship programs. The fact of the matter is we're starting to have global reach through our programs with people from different countries who have joined our community to be part of the experiences that we provide. And, at some point we have to start talking about the things that are happening inside the community, so that it's not just saying, okay, this course does this and does that, and nobody really knows exactly what has happened. So I think that the best way to really celebrate the power of the human spirit, the power of what's happening inside of our community every single time that we have a program and things are happening in there, is to, at some point, have what we call the H.P.S. or the Human Power Series. So I am really honored that today somebody has wanted to accept my invitation and kindly and generously said yes to the invitation to be here with all of us, so that we can actually have a conversation, talk about some of the things that happen inside of our circle when we're doing, particularly in this program, the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. What is the journey like, right? Because typically when we tend to think about gratitude, people say, well, just say thank you a lot. And typically, when that happens, it's a little bit challenging to be able to explain it just from saying some words. And what more powerful than actually having a community member who is immersed in that world, whose life has been changed, transformed because of it, to be the one who's actually speaking to it. So I am going to welcome here my dear community member, Kitara Wilson. Here, and she can come in. Kitara, can you see me? Let's see, and accept. And let me see if in the magic of Instagram we can actually see her. Hello, Kitara.
Hello, how are you?
So great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And welcome to one of our series here in Alive Partner TV of H.P.S., which stands for Human Power Series. So I am so honored to have you here with us. I was sharing with the community who's watching currently some of the things that we have been doing, and the fact that currently we are just about to finish this cycle of the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. For all of you watching right now the show, this is something that we internally in our community, we call it GL28. And if you've never heard about that, just feel free to click on the link below so that you can have access to seeing more information about the program. Or if you are watching this live or even the recording, just feel free to post a comment. We read everything here in the team, and we make sure that we address all the questions that you may have about the program. What is it that we do? So I want to welcome again my dear community member, a super powerful woman in my estimation, Mrs. Kitara Wilson. Kitara, welcome to HPS. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Doing great. It is so awesome to have you. One of the things that happens when we start talking about the aspect of gratitude, I really believe that there's a tremendous misconception when it comes to this, as you know, because you've been in the journey now, where many people think that the aspect of living gratitude is just, saying thank you a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And I know it because I used to actually be one of those people as well. It's like if I say thank you a lot, I'm living in a state of gratitude. And I really think not to make fun of that. I think that there is a lot of truth to being able to say thank you and be in a state of gratitude. But can you tell us a little bit about, how did you find a life partner, and in particular GL28, the 28-day gratitude launchpad? Just introduce yourself, normal conversation here.
Okay. Again, my name is Kitara. Hello, everyone. And I follow Dr. Mario's wife, Dr. Kim Daramo, and I am reading her book. And she popped up on my feed one day, and she was having a live with her husband, and you were promoting the GL28 Launchpad coming up, and I am a student of Dr. Joe Dispenza also, and something that he says all the time is gratitude is the ultimate form of receivership. And so, since I have been a student of his for a while, I always struggled with the feeling, because just like you, he talks about feeling those emotions of what it would be like to be in whatever it is that you were trying to create in your life. And so, as you know, I came up against this in the group as well. And so when I saw you and Kim talking about the program, I thought, okay, well, let me go ahead and try it. And like you mentioned, I was living life basically just saying thank you. And for years, probably at least 2 decades, every morning when I wake up, I just automatically say thank you. And I say thank you when things happen, but I didn't realize how shallow my thank yous had been, because
Mhm.
I don't remember what day it was. But when we talk about thinking about all of the things that happen in our lives that make the conveniences that we take for granted happen, we forget all the people that were involved in that. So just, I think you used the example of like water. It's cold now. So, if it gets below temperature, we have to leave the water running overnight because we have to make sure that the pipes don't freeze and burst. And so when you get up in the morning and you have hot water on a cold day, you don't think about the people who put the plumbing into the house when the house was built, the people who laid the pipes underground, who put all the water together, whoever the people who work at the water plants, like all of these things that come together that you just take for granted, because it's just like, oh, we have water, we have heat, this is great. But you don't think about everybody who goes into helping you have those conveniences. And even the day where we sprinkle gratitude or magic on other people, when you go to the store, and a lot of times we have issues with people who you may get in a checkout line and someone has an attitude. We don't know what's going on in their lives, what they are faced with. And so a lot of times we just pop attitude back, or we don't think about what they could be going through. We're just thinking about from our perspective of, well, I'm the customer, he or she should be nice, and I waited in line all this time, whatever the case may be. So i, I now think about, these people may have small children at home. They may have someone who's out of work. They may have someone sick. They may be like me, who has a mom who has memory loss. And, you have elderly parents you're caring for, whatever the case is. It just takes you to a different place to think about someone else's situation. And while they are still going through whatever they're going through and they're helping you, to be grateful for that. So this we're not even at the full 28 days. And these past 22, today's day 22,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
22. Yep.
Past 22 um, have really helped me come up against myself, which is not easy when you come up against your own stuff. But I am grateful for that, because it's just helped open my eyes, and it's helped me to see things in a different way and approach gratitude in a very different way.
That's that's so beautifully said, Kitara, and I want to expand a little bit on something you said, which is so powerful. Really, you're speaking to starting to wake up awareness in a very, very powerful way in your life.
Yeah.
The little things that go unnoticed, they start to become really loud.
Yes.
The things that have been invisible in our lives start to shape up, take color, take viscosity. They become real. They materialize in front of us. They're not invisible anymore. One of the things that I talked about today this morning as I was sending my daily communication with our community in the newsletter, I was talking about the what I call the IHV, which is the invisible human virus. I don't know
Yep.
if you read that email. And one of the things that I have found that is incredibly powerful for all of you listening right now, that is an antidote to this aspect of IHV, is the aspect of gratitude. And the reason is, if we take Kitara's example about noticing, even, having the awareness of perhaps human beings that you'll never meet that might have laid the piping in your house, the people that really contributed to the quality of your life. In our very own way, we shape up images of what those workers, those human beings may actually look like. They start to shape up, they start to become real for us. And we experience real feelings, real chemical experiences, what's called the neurophysiology of life.
Yeah.
The chemistry of life inside of us becomes real. It's the same chemistry that on a moment to moment basis, we can go from the fluctuations of feeling joy to, in the same sentence, feeling sadness, to feeling freedom, to feeling a sense of being shackled. All of these things that are part of the spectrum of the human experience. And as Kitara was saying, starting to really commit to this practice, which we'll talk a little bit more about, is this something really difficult or not? And she was saying, at times it's actually difficult to see myself, right? And I completely agree with her, because you start to bring light into places that may be dark. And I have to say, it is absolutely amazing the degree of change that takes place when we start to see ourselves in those
Yeah.
places. When we start to see that the fears that we may be experiencing, they start to dissolve, to dissipate, to vanish as we do this on a daily basis. For those of you who are watching this communication that we're having right now, this episode of a life partner H.P.S, which is a human power series, we're talking today to one of our esteemed community members, Kitara Wilson, who is on the final stretch to completing this cycle of GL28, what we also call the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. Kitara, could you be so kind and generous with us and speak to a little bit about where were you before you came into the community to do the Launchpad? Clearly, you were on a exploration journey doing other people's work. You mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has beautiful work. You were also talking about Dr. Kim DeRamo and the American Institute of Mind Body Medicine as well, who has also beautiful work. Clearly, you are somebody who has a deep awareness that there's a lot more to life, and you've been seeking to actually get support, and you have been investing your time and your resources to get that kind of support, which I completely respect and bow to you for doing that, because it's really powerful when you have such awareness and you just don't stop there, right? You just said, something is pulling me in that direction, calling me, and I'm going to do that, whether it's this work or other people's work, which is beautiful too. Would you be so generous with us and share a little bit about what was the journey like at the beginning, at the onset of GL28, and then we'll get a little bit into some of the things that have been really dramatic for you that have happened, which are simply inspiring.
Sure, no problem. When I decided, after I saw you and Dr. Kim in that live, it just felt right. And I was at a place where in September, I attended my first Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat, and it was amazing. It was wonderful. Came back home and was inspired. And that's what usually happens when you go to live events and you come home
Yes.
and you're fired. And I'm not saying that it all diminished. I have not missed a meditation since September. I was waffling here and there before, but I have not missed a meditation since September. And I remained committed to that. I remained committed to the experiences that I had and what I felt and still feel. But I knew that there was still something that just still wasn't there. Um, and that idea, and I had been thinking about that. Gratitude is the ultimate form of receivership. It just kept coming up in my head over and over and over again. And then there were you and Dr. Kim and the Gratitude Launchpad. And so I was like, okay, this makes sense. This wasn't put in front of me for no reason.
Mm.
So go ahead and go for it. And I'm very grateful that I answered that voice inside of me.
Um, Kitara, thank you for sharing that because that's really powerful. The fact that you knew that something was calling you, whether it's this work or something else, and all of us and all of you who are listening to this recording or you're watching live, Kitara's point is really powerful, right? Because in our life journey, sometimes when we have this glimpse of awareness that may come in, if we're not cultivating it, something speaks to us. Some people may say, so like, I had this hunch, or it's almost like I heard somebody speaking to my ear, right? Like there's this moment that it's like, something caught my attention. There's many
Yeah.
ways that people refer to this, as you know, Hitara, but you were already on a journey where you were acknowledging to yourself that there was power in what you were doing. In this particular case, you already had started to incorporate a daily practice of meditation. And as you know, we actually do invoke the practice of meditation, among other things that we do inside of the Launchpad. But you already were on that journey prior to actually discovering this. And that practice was really already opening you to other things that you were already resonating with, so that when they came in, if they really felt like a true yes in your body, you know,
Yes.
then you could actually take action if your resources were available to actually do that. And clearly you felt that, you took action, and then you're here. Now, I like to say inside of the Launchpad and when I'm coaching community members and so on, and in our different programs, we all come to the table with different intentions because we all have different journeys which we must honor, different backgrounds, different experiences. So that patch quilt of experiences that make us who we are allows to really come with different desires, goals, dreams, aspirations to any particular process that we do. Whether it's going to a restaurant and having this decadent, chocolate, cake or a steak or whatever the case may be, or maybe buying that book that has been calling you, whatever the case may be, that you feel inspired, you gravitate and you take action. Now, you came to the journey with some preconceived notions, just like everybody has, right, about what that was going to be. And I've never asked you this question, so I'm actually really curious to kind of like probe and ask, like, what did you think the Launchpad was going to be about? And then tell me a little bit about, was that exactly what it was, or this completely shocked you?
So I hadn't heard of Rhonda's book, and just reading the book alone, and then I know that you add your own little special magic to it. So the two combined have been pretty powerful. My intention was just to create that ultimate form of receivership, and I didn't really know what exactly that was going to look like or
Yeah,
what that was going to feel like. Um, that really was my intention. Is just I wanted to get to that place of ultimate receivership. Yes, please give it to me. But I didn't know what all that would take.
that is so cool. Thank you for your honesty. That's amazing. Super powerful. And the flip side of all of that, of course, is, what has it been like? For somebody who's actually watching us right now having this conversation, like, okay, that sounds all great, it's working for Kitara, she's pretty glowy right now in this conversation with Mario, but what has it been like? What has happened to Kitara's life over the past 22 days?
Some days were easy. Some days were not. Um, Several days were not. Um, because of the extra magic that you sprinkle into the program, you really want us to feel within
Yes.
our bodies where that gratitude is residing, whether it's tingling in the hands or lightness in the chest, whatever that feels like. And I have struggled with feeling that in my body because I have had a lot of physical pain. Sometimes the physical pain overrides anything that feels good. And so it was frustrating. Or
Mm.
um, if I got frustrated with one of my children or my husband, then that would want to override. And it would have to be like, and I forget which day it is. I don't remember all of the days of the lessons, but there was one where, yes, you were in a moment, but you have to remember this is happening, but I am grateful for.
Yes.
So I have to remember if I was frustrated with my children or frustrated with my husband or frustrated with myself, it, but I'm grateful for. Um, and so it just has been a constant bumping up against myself. And I'm okay. I've always been okay with doing that. I know that a lot of people are scared to go into those dark corners of themselves that they just don't want to see. I want to see them. It doesn't mean that they're fun, but I want to see them because I want to get underneath them and I want to get rid of them because I know that the energy of what they bring out of me unconsciously is not, it's not who I really am. I know that that's not the true essence of me,
Mm.
and I need to get deep into whatever those dark spots are to bring them out. And so that has happened a lot in these past 22 days. And yeah, one moment in particular was pretty huge, but it has it has been beautiful, but it has also been beautifully messy.
So amazing. I just want to share with everybody who's watching this and watching this incredibly powerful human being whose name is Kitara Wilson, and so honored to have her today. That this glow that you see on her face is not makeup. This is actually her light coming through. This is a really powerful human being who is living, and I can vouch to that because I communicate with my community every single day,
Yep.
real time with people. You know, Kitara, this is really funny. I don't think I've actually shared this with the community, but somebody, I think it was around the first week of this cycle, somebody asked me, "Oh wow, so what system are you using to send the pre-written messages to us?" And I'm like, actually, no. I wake up sometimes at 3, sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Time here in Colorado, in the United States, where I live, and then I go through my own meditation, and then after that, I do the readings and the listening of the particular day that we're on, and then I actually, in that state that I'm in, I do my reflection for the day, and after I've kind of integrated what is the awareness for me about the group and what is being called for in that particular day, then I go through the process of writing every single day the communication piece that goes out to everybody. In fact, I will share with everybody watching this, and Kitara is a master at this, like everybody who's in the community in the Launchpad currently. Every day I put out something that I came up with, what I call the quick vites. So quick as in fast, invites as a short word for invite or invitation. And that is my way of not only tying in the message, as I have taken it beyond the work that inspired this initially, and that's Rhonda Byrne's The Magic Book. And I've created this whole body of work beyond that, particularly using the power of the feeling body, which is a big premise of the work in the Alive Partner community and the Alive Partner platform. But they were asking, if I actually did this, like I just pressed a button and then the pre-recorded message just went out to everybody. I'm like, no, actually, no, it's completely organic, you know? Can you speak to what those quick bites have been for you, Kitara, along the way?
Yes. So some of the quick bites have been easy. And I think in the beginning, you kind of started us off a little bit slow. And then when you introduced us to the soul map and the feeling body, that's when I started to struggle a bit.
Yes.
And in full transparency, there was one day I was like, I know he's gonna kick me out the group. He's absolutely kicking me out the group because I went into the group to post And I felt like it was so negative, and I kept trying to write it and rewrite it and make it not sound negative. And I was like, screw it, this is how I feel. And I think I went to bed after I posted, and I was expecting to wake up the next morning. I was like, Dr. Mara's going to say, so sorry, Kitara, but you know, we're going to have to ask you to leave the group. I felt, I struggled with it so hard. And that's where, you know, some of those dark places, like I talked about, coming up, thinking I'm not worthy enough to stay in the group. And that's a dark part of me, is worthiness. And am I deserving or worthy enough to be in certain spaces or have certain experiences? And you didn't kick me out. Thank you. So it's those days with the quick bites, some of them have been hard. And then you started asking us to do videos for the quick bites, and I've done a few, I think maybe 2 or 3, and those are uncomfortable, but it's in our discomfort that we grow. And so I had to put myself out there, and in one of our group calls, I really put myself out there, and those types of moments have been hugely helpful.
Thank you. You know, one of the things that I want to share with you watching this interview with Mrs. Kitara Wilson, one of our esteemed members of the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad community, is the fact that sometimes when programs are being conducted and there are people in the experience, they talk about the proverbial putting people in the hot seat. And I really don't like that, especially in the context of all the work that we do in the Alive Partner community. I really like to think of it as the healing chair. We really have, you know, very particular language that we have in our community, Kitara, as you really have seen already, and different quirky words that we use to have our own language inside of the community. But to your point, the courage to put yourself in the healing chair, I have to say it has been one of the most remarkable moments in the journey that we all got to celebrate your human power. Reason why we're here in the Human Power series in Life Partner TV. We got to see the power, the vulnerability, the strength, the courage, the heart, the opening that you basically gifted us all with that particular day in this journey. It's really incredible. And one of the things that it's really important to me as somebody who is kind of ushering this environment and, you know, opening the doors for people to come and have these experiences, is to create a safe space for people to have their journey, to have their experience. It is absolutely paramount. It's sacred to me. And one of the things that I'm going to ask you, you know, do you mind sharing, you know, about that? Because some people who are watching this may be thinking, okay, is this for me? Am I going to feel, am I going to be saying things that everybody, the whole world will know about? Sometimes we, in that stage where we're transitioning from things that we're not comfortable with to things that we just simply love, embrace, and accept the entire freedom and power that we have. While we're transitioning between those two stages can be pretty scary. And to have other people witness things that perhaps we're not even wanting to accept from ourselves. Can you share, you know, some insights and what your experience has been in terms of how safe have you felt along the way in the journey?
Sure. You can see and hear me okay? I got a
I do.
notification on my phone, and okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So this is definitely a very safe community. I am so grateful for the level of vulnerability that so many people have opened up and shared. Um, Things that most people would consider to be very private. Um, People have shared about health issues, marital struggles, money struggles, business issues, whatever it is, people have felt completely safe. And there has been zero judgment, um, zero negativity. People have been embraced with love and respect and honor. And that that matters a lot, because And you even called me out on one of the calls because I felt bad as a writer. I'm wordy. And so I felt like my posts were always too long. And so when I was on the live, I introduced myself as, the one who writes the novellas, and I apologized, for it. And you asked me, why are you apologizing? And I appreciated that because that is who I am. I am a writer, and I write. And
Yes.
I express myself best through written word, and I don't need to apologize for that. So I appreciate it. So it has been very safe. The second live where I shared, um, it came about from one of those days where I was really, the day prior was a day where we were really supposed to feel in, and we were talking about big dreams and feeling what those big dreams feel like in our bodies. And so many people were, oh, it's light and it's beautiful. And I'm like, that's great. I don't feel that. And I had to start asking myself questions, which is part of the growth process. Is it's one thing to kind of dip your toe into something, but if you're not really going to do a deep dive, be your own little archaeologist or detective and start asking questions, then you're not really going to get anywhere. And so I had to start asking myself questions like, well, why can't you feel in your body? And is it because you have pain in certain parts, or is it something else? So then it was that, is it something else? So I had to go a little further and was like, okay, well then what could it be? What could be blocking you from being able to feel in your body? And I had to sit with that for a while. And then it came to me, well, it's not safe. Okay, so why is it not safe? Like, what is making feeling in your body not safe? Where is this coming from? And then that really took me beyond just the body part. But it's like, well, wait a minute, why is there a part of me telling me that I'm supposed to be dreaming big and feeling in my body? Is it feeling in my body is not safe, or is it the dreaming big that's not safe? And it was the dreaming
Mm.
big that was not safe. And so I had to dig a little deeper and was like, so where did you get the idea that it is not safe to dream big? And it hit me. And floodgates opened. It was quite the mess. And it was a childhood trauma that, and I had told the story of the trauma like to my husband and had forgiven. It has to do with my father. I'd forgiven my father, and I'd gone through all of that, but I did not know that because of the events that happened, that there was a part of me that told me, don't ever do this again. Do not ever, ever, ever get your hopes up so high and believe that these big, audacious things can happen, because they won't. And so um, that was that was tough because as a little girl, and for context, my father willfully abandoned me when I was little. I always knew who he was and where he was. My mom would let me write him. One Christmas season, I wrote him, and I always believed that she would send the letters. I never believed otherwise. Sent him a letter, invited him over. I was about 8. And in the letter, I was like, if you can't come, here's my phone number. Here's my grandmother's phone number. Call. And if you don't call, you're coming. So he never called. So in my mind, he was coming. And I was excited, beyond excited. I told everybody at school I couldn't eat my dinner. Like it was a huge thing. And for 2 hours in my prettiest dress, I went back and forth between windows and doors looking for him, and he never showed up. And that was the day that I stopped believing in the idea of him, because up until that point, it was just an idea of my father loved me and wanted to be in my life. It was just an idea. And I knew then that it was a lie. But what I didn't realize subconsciously, what had happened was that as you walked me through in that moment, that 8-year-old stepped in and was said, no, I'm going to protect you. I'm protecting us. We are not doing this again, ever. And so as I've gone on through life, and especially as an adult, in wanting to have certain goals and dreams come to fruition, I would go after them, but I would subconsciously find ways to sabotage myself. And I never knew why that was. I never understood it. I could do the exact same thing that other people were doing and see them like just crushing it. And I would struggle and I couldn't figure out why. And so that has helped me to see that is why my 8-year-old was protecting me, because she is the one who said it was not safe to have big lofty dreams like that, because they weren't going to work out. And that was the message. It's not safe because it's not going to work. This happened. He didn't show up. So this is proof that dreaming big does not work. And that is a lie. And so I would not have come to that. I honestly would not have gotten there. Not now anyway. Maybe later, some other roundabout way, but it was through this group and this process of going through this 28 days of gratitude with you and the community that brought this about. And I just can't say that it would have came any other way, at least not now. And it was because of this. So for that, I am extremely, extremely grateful.
It's hard to really say things after somebody shares something like that. Um, so privileged to witness your greatness, Kitara. So honored to be a witness of your journey, of what you've done, not because of me or the program, because you have really stepped into your own courage, into your own human power, into your own female power, the beautiful, amazing, powerful woman that you are. And I want to say, as a point of reflection in your share, which is so powerful. Thank you. One of the things that happens, and you've seen this, Kitara, in the community, is how much we have bought into our experiences. And we're not here to judge why it has happened that way, what was done, this and that. That's really never been the intention in the program. It never will be. It's really being able to access ourselves through gratitude and the feeling body. You, at one point, decided, because of you, nobody else, that you wanted to meet yourself to levels that you had not had necessarily the experience or the knowledge how to, maybe the inclination, whatever we could add to the list. But something inside of you, because of the life journey that you were carrying and conducting upon arriving at this point of meeting with our community and so on, led you to really have the courage and take it a step further to go here. And I want to say to everybody watching this, what Kitara just did in sharing this, it's extremely powerful. But one of the reasons why it's so powerful, and I am so honored and I respect it so much, is because it's so difficult until it's not.
Right.
Until it's not. Until we could actually look into that place and say, yeah, that has been a part of my life. I like to use the metaphor, as you know, Kitara, in our space, of the film of your life. That particular frame that makes up the entire movie. Well, there might have been parts of the movie that were just pretty difficult, challenging, disgusting, whatever the word may be. But we know it's just a fraction of the total.
Right.
And one of the things that is really powerful through the activation of the feeling body in our program is that you can actually be in the public and be embracing this story, which is so powerful and so beautiful, right? Because it's part of the journey. And insofar as we're grateful, we love it, we embrace it, we accept it, we bring light into those places. It's almost like it becomes a celebration, right? Everybody wants to kind of like be a cheerleader for the hero. that is going through those dark moments, and we're all waiting for the moment of redemption where the hero actually saves the day, right? So when I see you, and I see you,
Thank
I
you.
see this glowing sort of state that you're in, which I think the people, everybody in GL28 are currently experiencing in different degrees, but nonetheless, very compellingly so, that everybody has a different glow because you've been able to turn the switch around, turn the switch around, turn the switch around. And the more we practice this, you know, for those of you that are new to this conversation about GL28, the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad, this day is my 40th cycle. And when I talk about cycles, we're talking about 28 days. So, and uninterruptedly. So when we start our next cycle, which starts on December 19th, I'll be going into my 41st cycle. And I'm not saying that to impress anybody or boast, but just to highlight the fact that just like Kitara has seen a very compelling, powerful progression of what has happened exponentially every day, despite the moments of like the rocky road, the trend, wouldn't you say, Kitara, has always been an upward trend, always, for
Yes.
every single day. And that I think it's hard to explain that to anybody unless you're listening to somebody like you, because if I say it, I'm obviously very biased in the best possible way. But when they hear somebody is like, it's like, okay, well, this is not just Mario saying, trying to like, hey, come into the program and do this, you know?
Right. It's very um it's life changing, and I'm happy to be able to share. If there's anyone who's watching or watching later, sitting on the fence thinking about it, or if they hear or feel that little teeny tiny voice that's saying maybe this is it, do it. It's absolutely worth it. I'm definitely doing the next cycle. It's This isn't a one and done. You know, this is your life, and if you want to grow and expand and evolve at whatever place you're in life, then you can't do it on the sidelines. You got to be out on the field or on the court. It's not a spectator sport at all.
100%. And you know, Kitara, you know, as we get close to the end of this conversation, which has been truly magnificent, who would you say, from your heart, this program is for? Who would you recommend, you know, considering joining us in the community and going through the journey?
To everybody, honestly. uh, I think in some way or another everyone needs it, whether they think they do or not. And if you think you do, you absolutely do. And if you think you don't, you really, really do. Um, Gratitude has never harmed anyone. And like you asked me earlier, what did I come in for? And what have I gotten out of it?
Yes.
Two totally different things. um, you you can't go wrong with practicing gratitude. There's just no, you might think that it's negative, but there really is no negative to it at all. But if there's someone who obviously is in a place where they're struggling or feel lost, hopeless, those are the people who I would say, if I had to categorize or group people, maybe those are people who might really want to consider this. I know this time of year is hard for a lot of people. And so coming right smack dab in the middle of this season is a great time to start, because it can help pull you out of what is usually possibly a time of despair.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sank. Thank you so much in sharing this. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege not only to share this time with you and receive your generosity, Kitara. Thank you. But also to hear from your heart, very candidly, very openly, unscripted,
Yeah.
you know, what this experience has been. And for all of you watching, thank you for joining us once again here in Alive Partner TV in one of our special episodes in the H.P.S. or the Human Power series. if Kitara's presence today and her gracing, being so gracious with her presence in the show today has not been compelling enough, I really don't know what is at this point, because it's really powerful. So Kitara, thank you so much for being here, for being so generous, for sharing so candidly, openly, whatever came up as I, was having this conversation with you. And for all of you who are out there who may be wondering, please take us on the invitation to take a look at the 28-day Gratitude Launchpad. Not my words, Kitara's words. It really should be for everybody, and it will change your life. What better gift every day of your life than to be able to receive the most powerful thing that you have available to you, which is a capacity to feel. I am Dr. Mario Torres Leon, founder of AlivePartner.com, and I want to thank you again for spending this time with us. And whatever we can do to serve you, please don't forget to send us a message, to share this if this has resonated with you, because as I like to say in every single episode, you may be the one who is the catalyst for somebody else to have a much better life because of the share. Until next time, have an amazing day, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Mario.
Thank you so much, Kitara.